Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Seth Pearson, and I am the National Young Adult Diocesan Liaison for the National Episcopal Church. I would like to personally thank you for coming tonight. This is the last night of our Young Adult Conference for the Union of Black Episcopalians, and it has been an amazing week. I have met some of the most amazing people here, and I have formed relationships that will last long beyond this wonderful week of work and worship. I stand before you tonight not just in my official position, but I have the unique honor to present tonight's awesome keynote speaker. This man has been an inspiration not just to myself, but to the entire world. He has been an instrument for change, a beacon of hope, and a light for peace in a world that is often so dark. This man is Archbishop of Canterbury, Desmond Tutu. Desmond Mapilo Tutu was born October 7, 1931, in Klerksdorp, Transvaal, a small village in South Africa on the western bank of the Shrewsbury River. He is the second of three children and the only son of his father, Zachariah Zilio Tutu, and his mother, Alida. At the age of 12, his family moved to Johannesburg, which is where he met Trevor Huddleston, a white parish priest in the black slums of Sophiatown. This would be a life-changing meeting for the Archbishop. His father was a teacher and mother a cleaner and cook at a school for blind children. And the Archbishop quotes that, "One day, I was standing in the street with my mother when a white man in a priest's clothing walked past. As he passed us, he took off his hat to my mother. I couldn't believe my eyes, a white man who greeted a black working-class woman." Although the Archbishop's dream was to become a physician, his family could not afford the training. Oh, how we thank God for unanswered prayers. He traveled on to King's College in London, where he received his bachelor's and master's degrees in theology, and later returned to South Africa, and from 1967 to 1972 used his lectures to highlight the circumstances and injustices of the African population. He wrote a letter to former Prime Minister B.J. Vorster in which he described the situation in South Africa as a powder barrel that can explode at any time. The letter was never answered. He was leading a large white parish then and faced a difficult balancing act, voicing black discontent while leading a largely white parish. He alternated charm with challenges as he appealed to his parish's Afrikaner heritage, recalling that their forebears had endured British concentration camps. Somewhat to the bewilderment of other black leaders, he patiently courted Vorster's successor, P.W. Botha, explaining that even Moses continued to reason with Pharaoh. But white liberals grew nervous when he called for a boycott of South African products. In 1972, the Archbishop returned to the UK, where he was appointed Vice Director of the Theological Education Fund of the World Council of Churches at Bromley in Kent. He returned to South Africa in 1975 and was appointed Anglican Dean of St. Mary's Cathedral in Johannesburg, the first black person to ever hold that position. In 1976, the protests in Soweto, also known as the Soweto riots, against the government's use of Afrikaans as a compulsory medium of instruction in black schools, became a massive uprising against apartheid. From then on, Archbishop supported an economic boycott of his country. He vigorously opposed the constructive engagement policy of the Reagan administration in the United States, which advocated friendly persuasion. Tutu rather supported disinvestment, although it hit the poor hardest. For if disinvestment threw blacks out of work, Tutu argued, at least they would be suffering with a purpose. In 1985, the U.S. and the UK, two primary investors into South Africa, stopped any investment. As a result, disinvestment did succeed, causing the value of the rand, the currency used in South Africa, to plunge more than 35% and pressuring the government toward reform. Tutu pressed the advantage and organized peaceful marches, which brought 30,000 people onto the streets of Cape Town. That was the turning point. Within months, Nelson Mandela was freed from prison and apartheid was beginning to crumble. The Archbishop has continued to create venues for social change in his position as chairman of the elders and heading the Truth and Reconciliation Commissions. Archbishop is widely regarded as South Africa's moral conscience and has been described by former President of South Africa Nelson Mandela as sometimes strident, often tender, never afraid, and seldom without humor. Desmond Tutu's voice will always be the voice of the voiceless. We're honored to have him here tonight to inspire us to continue to strive for change in our own communities and do our part in changing this world. Please help me welcome this year's keynote speaker, my friend, Archbishop of Canterbury, Desmond Tutu.